Welcome to Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Gerry, Ricken, and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
And we are here with the retirement planner, Heidi Ricken Provost, licensed insurance professional, Gerry Ricken. Thanks for streaming Kickin with the Rickens podcast, all powered by Ricken Financial. My name is Mark Owens. Heidi Ricken Provost, Gerry Ricken. I hope this week is treating you well. How are things going?
This week so far is treating us well.
Yeah. So far, so good.
Yeah.
It's been a wild and tough few weeks around the Ricken and Provost households. I'm in a new phase of my life. I now no longer have any living grandparents.
Oh.
So, my sister and I were talking about this the other day. We lost my mom's mom. She was my last living grandparent on Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
And it was a blessing because she was not in good shape anymore, and no one deserves to live in that way.
And she was ready.
Oh, she was definitely ready. In fact, a couple days before she passed, my sister went to go visit her at the hospital, and she was screaming at her, "Why won't you let me die?"
Oh, God.
So,
Ooh.
she was ready to go because, also, she and my grandpa, my poppy, had been together for 73 years. Married
for
73 years. Together longer than that. I can't even, and, he's been gone since March. So it was tough on her not having him around too. But, my sister and I were talking about how it was a blessing that she's no longer in this pain and she's moved on, but just how bizarre it is that for the first time in our lives, we don't have any grandparents anymore that are
right.
around.
Yeah.
That song, "I Wish Grandpas Never Die."
Was it Riley Green? Yeah.
Hell of a song. And it's so true because, we can never have the memories back, but thank God we do have them because they bring you solace in a time of grief,
For Christmas last year, my mom gave me, it's a running joke in my family, my mom gives us a book every year. And every year I don't read a book that my mom gives me just because I don't read. So what she did last year is there's a company called Storyworth, and you write the book. And the family members submit questions, and then you write chapters of this book. So for the past year, I've been working on that book. And about every week, I'll spend about 30, 45 minutes answering the questions. And I finally got it finished, and it took me forever. And there's about 35 chapters. And, each one is just like, tell me a story about your childhood home. Or, what was it like? Tell me about Fred the Basset, my dog growing up. Or, when was the last time that Caroline made you cry, my daughter? And one of the question was, tell me about your grandparents. And it's funny you say that I wish grandpas never died, because in that chapter, I reference and I say, I wish they had not died when I was young, because I have so many questions. I wish, and I feel like it was taken away from me having more time with both sides, all four of my grandparents.
Sure.
They all died when I haven't had grandparents in 20 years now. And it's like one of those where, God, just so many, not just life, but just family and growing up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
what was my mom like? What was my dad like? And all that. So I completely understand. But you made the comment, you were like, there are lessons to be learned about how they prepared for their last chapter of life. And that's something that we can take away as well.
I don't have very many regrets in this world. I regret one thing. I wish that I would have had, I was not old enough when my dad's mom, my grandma Dolores, passed away. I wasn't old enough with enough insight into life to understand how powerful her financial planning tools were.
Mm-hmm.
But the one regret I have is that I never took the time to sit down with grandma and figure out how in the hell she managed to budget the money that on her 8th grade education.
Mm-hmm.
She went to high school.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She had high school.
She went to high school.
She had high school graduate.
How in the hell did she manage raising 6 children when she had to stay at home for a while and then was a cleaning lady, and grandpa was a dairy farmer and a firefighter, and the two of them didn't make very much money at all? And I look back on that, I'm like, damn, I just wish I would have spent time with grandma and asked her, how the hell did you make that work?
Right.
That's so true, because I know you said they didn't make very much money at all. In 1976, which was my senior year in high school, that was the first year that they made $20,000 gross combined.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? And they raised 6 children. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, you guys didn't grow up with like a silver spoon in your mouth or anything, but it's not like you wanted for anything.
No.
Yeah, you did. I mean, you had no idea that they struggled because that's how they raised you. And I look at that and the Ricken grandparents, they struggled. I mean, they did not have these highfalutin, high-powered, high-paying jobs. You know, grandma and grandpa, they scrimped and they saved and they busted their ass to pay off their home, to raise their children, they both had the foresight to work a job where they had pensions and they took 100% survivorship on their pensions in retirement. And actually, that's why my grandpa went to the fire department. And he was so funny. He died a week shy of his 95th birthday. And he retired at 55.
He retired at 55 years old.
55 years old.
56, actually.
Okay, sorry. 56 years old from the fire department. And I used to do his taxes. And I remember you get the 1099 for his pension.
Mm-hmm.
And it would say, you know, dollar amount paid into the pension plan. It was less than $8,000 that he paid into the pension plan in all of his working years. Dollar amount that has come out of the pension plan. By the time he died, he was paid more than $300,000 out of his pension plan.
He always used to say, you know, he in the state of Kansas, everything was administered in Topeka, the state capital. He said those actuaries in Topeka are just shitting themselves. They want me to die any day.
Oh, he would always be like, they're just waiting for me to kick the bucket. I'm that outlier and they can't wait for me to die. My grandparents set it up correctly so that they actually made more money in their retirement and they were able to take some trips and spoil the hell out of their grandchildren because, and I'm not saying like we had a bunch of toys and that kind of stuff thrown at us. When I was in college, Grandma sent Barbie and I are the 2 oldest living cousins on that side of the family. Mm. So when we were in college, Grandma would send us care packages. But, you know, it's not fair to just send those 2 care packages. So she made a care package of the same degree for all of the grandchildren to be equitable and fair.
That's fair.
You know, so we were surrounded by love. When they passed away, they left a financial legacy. And more importantly, they left an unbelievable legacy of how to live a faith-filled life and put family first after God in everything that you do. And we've learned so many lessons from them. I mean, their name is on everything we do. It's the name of our business because it's a legacy we would love to continue. And it's our why. We want to ensure that when people retire, they have the income to come in to cover all of their needs and they can lead a beautiful and purposeful life and not have to worry about the finances. What a blessing that my dad and his 5 siblings had something financially from them. I mean, obviously that's not why they did what they did and it's not the legacy we all think about, but it's amazing to think that with so little, they did so much.
Yeah.
Well, and they actually saved in retirement. They saved in there. They couldn't spend. They weren't used to spending that kind of money. And they're receiving so much money from the 2 pensions and 2 Social Securities. They just didn't spend it. And they just saved it. They saved it in very, very conservative manner so that it wouldn't lose money.
Yeah. And there's something about the simplicity as well. And, you know, they were able to have a little bit better money management. I'm speaking of like my grandparents as well, because they didn't have 15 streaming services that, you know, the price increases every 6 months.
Yeah.
They didn't have cell phones back then. They, you know, the kids may have played baseball, but guess what? You share gloves. You know, travel baseball isn't going to cost you $5,000 or cheerleading isn't going to be $3,000 a season. Not that I know point in case how much
travel baseball meant going 6 miles away to the other town.
And
exactly.
And you had one ball. And if you lost that ball, game over. See you next week. We're done.
Well, you know, and if they were hurting for a little alcohol, Grandpa just
figured out how to make it happen.
Figured out how to make that happen with his copper still.
Just went to Farmer Brown's backyard and went to that little still and had yourself a little party. So what lessons do you take away that you implement now with the families you serve? As we're talking about, you know, this isn't your grandparents' retirement anymore, but there are lessons to take away. What's your biggest takeaway?
I think my Ricken grandparents taught me is the importance of 2 things. Living within your means always. As you make more money and things happen, yes, everyone has lifestyle creep,
Right.
But living within your means and always prioritizing savings is the biggest lesson that I could learn from what they did. Additionally, I think the second largest lesson I learned is the importance and the power of conservative investing with the correct amount of income for retirement.
Yeah.
They, as Dad mentioned, yes, they saved and they had money that they could be investing in all different ways in their retirement because they made more money in retirement than they did in their working years. And they weren't spending that much because they lived within their means always. They didn't risk it all in the market and get greedy. They were conservative and they knew slow and steady was going to win the race for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The little engine that could.
And it's powerful when you can cover all of your expenses with guaranteed income in retirement, you can do anything. And beyond that, when you match your risk tolerance, your retirement pretty damn beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, the biggest thing is just not outliving your income.
Mm-hmm.
If you have income, as long as you have blood pressure, and we say that all the time, we want you to have income as long as you have blood pressure. If you have that mastered, everything else is simple.
Right.
Everything else is simple. We can fix everything else.
So you did mention a couple of minutes ago the power of the pension. I remember the first time I ever heard the word pension is when my grandfather, who used to work for Georgia Power way back in the day, he had a pension. I heard my dad mention it. I didn't know. At first, I thought he was sick. It's like, well, Papa's got to work on his pension. I was like, is he going to be okay? But there are, even though a pension has pretty much gone the way of a dodo bird, unless you're a government employee right now, but there are ways for you to build a pension for adults, even when one's not available.
Of course there are. And they have another name. It's called an annuity. So there are all types of different annuities out there, but income-based annuities are another word for a pension, because a pension is just a guaranteed payment that hits on a monthly basis. You can, if you don't have enough guaranteed income to cover all of your expenses in retirement, there is a beautiful conservative investment out there called an annuity. And you can utilize an annuity to help cover those expenses that you need to pay or you want to pay that you don't have guaranteed income coming in to cover.
Inflation just doesn't stop when you retire. Inflation happens throughout your retirement years. So, Heidi just mentioned, let's turn on a little bit more income. If you need more guaranteed income, we can do that. We can do that over and over and over and over again. As inflation occurs, we can turn on more income and design those income plans to keep up or exceed inflation. So you feel comfortable, you feel secure, and you can pay all your bills and have some fun.
Right.
Well, and the first conversation we have with everyone that we meet is, what do you want to do with your time in retirement? Because we want to ensure that your financial plan is going to match all of your goals, your wants, and your desires. And if one of your desires is to travel more, or to take your grandchildren on trips, or to go out to eat every day with your friends that you have missed the opportunity to go out to eat with because of all of your working years, stuff like that, it takes money to cover that. So we can help design an income stream that kicks on more income for you to cover that travel, that kicks on more income for you to spoil the grandkids, or to go out to eat more often, or to join a new pickleball league, whatever it is that you want to do and that is your purpose that feeds your soul and brings you joy, we can help you design enough streams of income so that you don't even have to think about the expenses because you have the paychecks hitting your bank account. You just don't have to work for them. They're working for you now because you're retired.
Such great information. RickenFinancial.com to reach out to Heidi, Gerry, the entire team at Ricken Financial. You can find all this information in the show notes. And before we wrap it up, I think it's worth pointing out again that you want to help people live within their means, but not being cheap. Because I'm not going to lie.
Oh, yeah.
I go back to my dad's dad, Pawpaw. That old man was cheap. I remember for lunch, he used to pick me up from kindergarten, and we'd go back to the farmhouse, and I would be starving. Butter bread. That was my lunch.
There you go.
And butter. And you're going to like it.
That was never the case with Grandma Dolores and Grandpa Willie. We
ate well.
We ate very well around them, yes.
Now, it's funny. On the flip side, my mom's mom, Graham, spoiled the hell out of us.
Well, unfortunately, my dad does know how it works to have food withheld from a grandparent. I will not mention biscuits full name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Well, listen, these are some of the conversations you can have about family legacy, about living within your means. But most importantly, it's not your grandparents' retirement anymore. Let's have this conversation with the team at Ricken Financial. RickenFinancial.com or 314-207-6211. Again, find out all that information here in the show notes. Great place to hit pause this week. We will be back next week. Thanks so much for streaming the Kickin with the Rickens podcast. Before we get out of here, Heidi Ricken Provost, Gerry Ricken, take us home.
Every day is a holiday.
Life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.